All right, good morning and welcome to the Bookmap live trading webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap, and we do live analysis here. All right, good morning and welcome to the Monday, Tuesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. And then we have live trading with Jay Trader, a stocks trader, on Wednesday at 10 a.m. and live trading with Scott Bolsini, a futures trader, Thursday at 10 a.m. These are in demo paper trading mode and strictly for educational purposes. Our live analysis here is forward looking. We read the current market and we give insight to where we think price may move next. This is what you can do with order flow, and that's what we do in our webinars. Let's go through some disclosures and then jump right into the markets and look at the S&P E-mini and some other stocks and cryptocurrencies if you like. General disclosure: all Bookmap Limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Okay, let's jump right in and see what's happening here. You can see the cash open here, dribbling down from earlier this morning into high liquidity here around 44.50, and then we continued the sell-off here at the cash open 9:30. You see a little bit of volatility here, but a drop into 44.40, and then we're right back up in the kind of middle of the range here. So not a whole lot going on here, but very interesting on the higher time frames. So let's jump back here and take a quick look at it, and look at the daily chart over here on the left hand side. Then we have in the middle the hourly and the 15-minute on the right hand side. All right, so what's going on here? Well, interesting level here. We've been looking at this level for a while. We always look at where the wicks are on the higher time frames, and it's the same process truly of what we look at in Bookmap. We're just seeing a very high level here, kind of overall structure in these candlestick charts. They're really hiding quite a bit of information. However, we can still mark up our levels of interest here. So in fact, why don't we we should add another one down here. Maybe I'll just move it down for now. Yeah, this is going to be a really interesting level here. Are we going to break through this? Maybe trade down to the next one, which would be here. Okay, that would be around 44.13. So let's add that one in on the daily chart. Okay, no, drawing, and the horizontal line 44.13 is what we want. Okay, all right, I'm really curious about this level here. This is we can see the move down. We see the bounce last week, and then kind of just hovering in the middle here, but it didn't come back up into this whole area up here. So let's take a look at the hourly here, and yeah, it looks like sellers, to me, on this hourly here, we barely got up here, just a little bit here, and then we're seeing sellers already starting to come in again here. Okay, so I'm looking for a retest of the low here on this hourly, on the 15-minute as well. Big gap here as well. This is something to look at. Maybe not today, but maybe we'll see. We'll see if we get maybe down here. One of the scenarios is to get down into one of these kind of just spike below the lows, get people going short, stop some longs out, and then maybe we see a lot of buying come back in to maybe fill the gap up from the last week here. All right, so we'll be looking for that and that possible scenario, and we're going to read the order flow. All right, so we have a few different scenarios to look at from the higher time frame. Let's jump into Bookmap and see what's going on in the order flow here. All right, so here's our sellers coming in. We're down below this range here. Continuation, looking for sellers again here. Let's see if we can get them here at the low, and looking for them to trade into this 40 area right now. They're pulling here at 42. So yeah, just looking for sellers to continue here. All right, now let's take a look though at the order flow here. It's interesting. And this is why this is not a surprise. We're seeing a bounce here. Reason being is yeah, sellers here, buyers here, equal high. Okay, so for example, look at the swing high here and look at the selling or the buying in here. Okay, so what we're looking for here, we're looking for sellers to continue. If we get, and this is a great double bottom setup, to be honest, and right back to VWAP, maybe we can get back up into 53, 54 here as well. Okay, we need to get through this kind of point of control of this range here. But yeah, they're coming in, they're buying. So we're right already at this kind of point of control of this range here. Right, so there it is. Now we really need to see buyers continue here if we're going to get back up to the other side of the range. This is the last kind of stop here, and the mean reversion has already occurred. Right, so now are we going to get buyers or sellers up here? Right, you can see sellers coming in and trying to attack it, probably right back down to about 47 here. I'd be looking for a pullback here, back to 47. Okay, we haven't gotten through the point of control yet. All right, so yeah, I know this is a little bit of hindsight at the moment here, but it's a really nice look to this setup here. Okay, here's what to look for in the order flow on these kind of double bottoms. Okay, is we're looking for a trend here. All right, so we're just going to go through the setup, and we're going to do a lot more of this in the near future. Okay, so the setup here and reading this pattern in here. Okay, we're trending down. We're seeing sellers, more sellers here. Okay, we're not seeing many buyers at these lower highs in here. Okay, here, in fact, there's a double bottom within a double bottom here. All right, so we see the sellers here. This looks good for continuation. Okay, here's the first double bottom part. Okay, sellers here and some selling in here, but there's really not a lot of anything in here. We see some buyers in here, but not a whole lot of sellers down here. Then we see a bit of sellers, and then we see buyers on the other side here. Okay, this little range in here, we talked about ranges last week, and then breakouts and breakdowns, and also false breakouts and false breakdowns. So this isn't really a breakdown here. You see some sellers. I'm curious that we don't see any icebergs here. I would imagine we would. And then we start to see buyers. See how they kind of captured them on the other side of the range here. These sellers are going to be squeezed here. And then we get the move back up. We're looking for the move back up to first where it dropped from, or major areas here of selling. In fact, the first one would be the swing here at 44.50. And then the next one would be probably up here or maybe top of the range where the sellers came in and dropped it. Right, and then we look at not only the volume in here, but we also look at the order book. Right, so now that's the first part of the double bottom. Okay, and we got buyers up here. They broke the trend, and see the volume up here, see the green dots up here. Okay, we didn't see that on the way down. Right, so buyers didn't take it higher. They could have. At this point, we could have got the retest here, looking for more buyers here, and then looking for the push up into 48.50 or so. Okay, we didn't get them. Sellers came back down, retested this area here, and then look at the volume down here. Okay, how much selling do we see down here? You know, not much, right? So we see a lot of buying though. Okay, so we're looking for buyers to retest back up to this area here and see if they can even get through that area and back to the next stopping point, which would be point of control up here, which would be this area here, this high volume node, 44.50. And now if we get buyers back up above, green dots above that, and the order book as well looks good, we're looking for top of the range and then also potential breakout from top of the range here. All right, so anyway, that's the setup here. This is a pretty good example of it. Okay, we look for the buying. We look for even a break, not just an equal high here, but a break of it. Okay, and then we'd actually be looking for not just an equal low here or slightly lower low. We'd be looking for a higher low here and buying and lack of selling. All right, so that's the setup here to look for, and then you can see what happened here. We did get up to 54, but we're right back down. Okay, now looking for sellers to take control down here. All right, so let's see if we can get a bit more selling here down at this area here. Now the order book, we're not getting much from it at the moment. There's high liquidity at 52 and us at 47, and we're kind of in the middle here. It's really dark in here. Okay, so that's where supply is up here at 52. Here's where the demand is at 47. Okay, here's a skew, 48. See the liquidity just coming in, and we found some buyers. Okay, let's see if they can lift it back up to 53 and 54. Okay, this was the reaction to some demand in here. Okay, we got a little bit, and now we got sellers interested in it. Okay, sellers, then you should be able to take them on here at 48. You should trade into them and through them. Okay, and let's see if we can get now bigger picture move here. As we're back up in the middle of this range, if we can get sellers down below here, we're looking for the move back down to 40. Okay, 42 and then 40. All right, let me good morning, Nat and Greg. Can you guys hear me? In YouTube, should be able to hear me. No. Bookmap live trading webinar next. Okay, yes, this is what you can. Thanks, Greg. All right, we're good there. No. All right. Okay, so let's see if we get our sellers here, looking for them, trade into and through 47. There they are, looking for them to trade through it. I want to see them move it away with big red dots here. Okay, and then back down into 42 and 40. Come on, sellers, looking for them. There's some selling, starting to auction down here a little bit. Let's see if we can get down here again. Auction right here at 47 is what we're looking for. There they are. Now we're looking for the move. Okay, there's some stops being triggered. Boy, not much of a move. Starting to trend though. Okay, you can see the trend here. Let's get a few more sellers in here. And we're not. Okay, anyway, that's the primary scenario here. We're looking for sellers down here. It's just we're not quite getting them right now. Buyers, they bring it right back into the middle of the range here. Okay, they broke the little trend. Okay, but we can still get sellers back down here now. They did not get through the high volume node here, or the most traded level here. Looking for sellers again down here in this scenario here. Okay, maybe around this 46.5. Okay, let's see a skew in the order book as well. That'd be great. And we want to look at the reaction to that. See, this is not what we want. See, the skew is a little bit here, a little more demand, and they're pulling the supply up at 51, and we're finding some buyers here. Okay, well, if that's the case, then the buyers, they need to really ramp it up here with their buying, and they need to trade through this area here. You can see it's just kind of you can see it with the somewhere around this 47 on up to this area here, this kind of high volume, or the main profile here, and the trading within that profile here. So we're range bound basically, and we're not getting any insight right now. Okay, we're looking for it. We're looking for those scenarios to unfold. Let's see here. Nice stacking of liquidity in NQ. Okay, we can jump over to NQ. Yeah, look at this. This is going to be a nice short squeeze here. Okay, now does it accept or reject above this here? If we, let's see if we get sellers back in here at 52, and then back into the middle here, right back to 49 or so. No, not getting them yet. Here they go. All right, let's see sellers. You should be able to drop it down to about 49 here. Likely only if we can get them in here, right? Likely only if we can get them. And we're looking for some sort of supply and demand imbalance as well. Okay, yeah, here they go. So yeah, there's our move. Now I'm really curious now, since we even have this move to the other side of the range, if now our primary scenario can unfold here. So let's look again for sellers down here at 47. Okay, and then we're looking for the long squeeze here, and the move back down into 42 and 40 here. Looking good. They've already traded through point of control, and we see sellers here. All right, sellers, let's see you take it down to around 46, and then break it as well, and let's see if we can get them down to auction at 42 and 40 here. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now I'm going to cover something a little bit after this here, I think is very valid to look for, because we're looking for this scenario to unfold. I think we're going to get it now. And why now? Why not earlier? Okay. Anyone have an idea on why now would we be looking for this scenario with more likely to unfold now? Any ideas? Yeah, that's correct, Osterman. It's these guys up here. And you'll see that this is like, it auctions up here, it tests these areas, it gets people on the hook, and then the market kind of tests the softness down here, and the kind of tests the metal of these buyers in here, right? And again you usually see them kind of puke out, right? So our primary scenario is this. We're kind of perplexed, like, why didn't it play out? We looked at our higher time frame, that we're seeing sellers come in. We're seeing very little demand or volume, buy volume, to try to take this and fill the gap here. Okay, so on the higher time frame, we're looking for that gap fill if we're going long. I'm not seeing the buyers come in on 15-minute and the hourly here. So we're looking for sellers to come in and retest the bottom here around this 30, is it 38 or so, something like that. And that would be the primary scenario here. Okay, so we're looking for that in the order flow, and it's making sense. We looked for it in here. We covered this little double bottom, and how that wasn't the case here. Okay, we saw the move back into the middle of the range here, and we built out this range here. And we can even take this and extend it. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, and we're looking to see the someone take it one way or the other here in this range. We were looking for the primary scenario to the downside, and it didn't happen here. Okay, we had a nice little double bottom pattern, and then we're looking for it here, looking good for them to do it here. They didn't. Buyers came back in. Now here's where we were anticipating that move, and we're looking for the sellers here. We didn't get them, and said we got buyers, and they traded to the other side of the range. Okay, so you'll see this so many times, like in fact probably more times than the drop here, is we test to the other side, we test the supply and and gather some longs here, and then now we can go and maybe have some fuel to the fire here and look for a stop run or stops to kind of trigger the move to the primary scenario to the downside. Yeah, exactly, techie girl. Yeah. Now this also gives us some insight here of why it had to test the other side here. Okay, and why we haven't dropped into 42 and 40 here. Okay, what do you guys, any thoughts on that? Like why hasn't the primary scenario still not played out yet? Why doesn't it hit the targets here? Alejandro, that's an interesting one about the 3 times of the top 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there's definitely something to that. It's checking back and forth here, and testing these areas here. Okay, are we sure? Is there demand? Is there supply? Are they for real? Goon 5, yeah, 05, yeah, the lack of volume in here for sure is why we haven't followed through. But another one too is, and let me go back into Discord here. Yeah, I mean, tutorial, basically, this gives us some insight here that, well, we're looking for the primary scenario to unfold here. We had to come up here, retest the area, and really see if there's interested buyers here to take this higher. Okay? Or is it just a stop run, or we want to test it and we want to see, but if we have to do that, like, then this move to the downside here typically, it's still, we had to test it first. And since we had to test it first, it's not as pure a move as if it moved here. Okay, if there was a lot of sellers in here immediately, we know that there are sellers and they're engaged, and they're going to take this lower, and they're going to go into 42 and 40. Here we had to test the other side, and then we know that there are some buyers in here too. We can see them. They're not all stops up here, right? So we're still looking for the follow through to the downside here. Okay, bigger picture. But you can see we had to do another range down here before we can break. So we got to 42 here. Okay, now, based on that, like, we're still looking for sellers in here, but based on this move here, and what we had to do, we had to come to the other side of the range. Okay, I'd be looking for the same thing to happen here. Okay, now based on Alejandro, we have 1, 2, 3. All right, well, based on that, you'd be looking for the move to unfold here now. But did we come up here and did we test this area yet? Not really, no. So maybe we have to come back up to the mean again, or at least the high of this range, and kind of break it, get some stops triggered up here for the move back down again. Okay, so on days like today, there is lower volume, but we're also looking at the order flow events and order flow phenomena to unfold to make these moves happen. And if we had to do this, it doesn't mean that it means that there's less selling in here at this time, and we're kind of finding a meager, we're going lower, and it's continuing to go lower here, but we haven't we don't have as many engaged sellers in here to do that move right away and immediately. All right, Does that make sense to you guys? Okay, here and now here's our move and here's our follow through. Now this can be maddening when we have the primary scenario, and we're looking for this move to unfold, but it has to do this first. It happens a lot, right? And it really kind of shakes people up, and it's maddening. Maybe you take a scratch, you take a small loss, but you still look for it to unfold. Okay, and we're still looking for that primary scenario to unfold, and it is. Okay, we're coming down to 35 here. This is the low of the session, low of the day. Okay, so we're breaking the lows here. All right, so starting to find some sellers, stops, of course. Iceberg's going with the stops. All right, so that's pretty good. Let's see if we can get more selling. We're trending. It's trending nicely. Pullbacks, first pullback. What do you guys think? And why and where? Okay, Techie Girl, this could be your low volume pullback. And Alec as well. But so what? I'm so bad. Yeah, a bunch of you guys like in MC Loco. High volume node? No, not really. Oh yeah, I should say. Yeah, you're right. I mean, like basically in the trend, a high volume transaction, not necessarily a node. Okay, we also look at ranges. Okay, where do they drop it from? And the ranges. Okay, transactions. So big transactions, so we'll pull back to here is not out of the question, or even here, also here. Okay, where it dropped from up here. Okay, around 40. All right, makes sense. Yeah, the one thing, Techie Girl, the pullback here, where it broke from, a lot of times if you wait for that, you're not going to get it. It leaves you in the dust. Okay, but that's where to gauge the selling strength in here. Okay, you'll get a more shallow pullback on the stronger move. Okay, now what looks good? What do you guys think about the volume on this breakdown here? What do you does it give you some confidence in the move lower to continue? And if that's the case, then what kind of pullback are you looking for? Yeah, so I mean the move is good here. Now it is consistent selling here, and it's strong selling, and it is below a or the points here that it moved, okay, fit within what we talk about. Okay, so from 40 on down to here, 34, that's like 6 points, and there's strong selling in here. This is likely going to accept lower. Okay, they've moved it away here on volume. Okay, so if this was, would we think the same way if it was 2 or 3 points? No. Right. So what would you think though? What if you saw kind of a move down here, and then this is another scenario, and this is another variation. This is a nice variation here. This is actually the kind of variation we look for. There's one caveat on this variation. Okay, what's the caveat on this variation to be attentive about here? because this is the strong volume. This is good. And the points move is good. It's consistent. It's strong all the way down. There's a caveat though. The caveat here is this is breaking lows of the day. So, you know, we want to see this is good. If this was within a range here, this looks great, you know, and we'd be looking for a test maybe back down to the lows of the day. But these are lows of the day. So a lot of times on breakouts and breakdowns, 4 or 5 points we have to be a little more attentive about. 4 or 5 points of strong, you know, volume in the trend direction. We have to be more attentive about that, because like you'll see moves like this, and then it's at the bottom of the day, and buyers can come back in and start to buy back up here just above 40. Even though we have our 4 or 5 points. Here we have 6 points, and you can see that the pullback has been really shallow, right? We haven't even come back up to 40. Okay, we've come into, and look at the order flow in here. Okay, look at this barrage of selling in here, right? We've only come up to this area here so far. Okay, this high volume transaction here. Okay, which is like MC Loco. This is like a high volume node in essence. Okay, for this trending move in here. Okay, so we look for retest back to these areas here. And most of the time you'll see not only the high volume, you see high liquidity in there too. So there was a battle that happened in there. This is a stop run in here, as you guys can see. Good one too. There's like 200 stops in here. I got another question. I'm full of questions today. Guys, now this is more nuanced here, definitely, regarding the stop run. And I don't know. I'm going to pose the question here, and I don't quite know the answer, but there's more likely answer than another. Okay, so what do you guys think? Is this stop run here, is it a bigger player or is it a smaller player, or a bunch of smaller players in here? And it's hard to know. Well, it's not that hard to know, but like it's hard to have a definitive answer. Yeah, I'm so bad. I think it's one larger player. Why do you think that? Yeah, because it consistently swept the book in here. Like the larger player, like it hit his order, and then he dumped, and he had 200 lots in here, 193. You know, and it's likely 200 because the first one up here, how much is this? It's just one, volume of one. Okay, this is the one that triggered it though, right? And then the stop run unfolded, okay, for 193. So a lot of times though, if you see, let's go through this, and this is fascinating stuff, and you really learn a lot about how these markets work, and why we're going over it is you can extrapolate this to much higher time frames and start to understand like the players involved in here. Bookmap is just unbelievable in its ability to show this kind of minutia. I don't know of any other platform that can do it. And especially we can get down into, you know, micro and nanosecond level resolution to see this and understand the players involved. Likely one larger player exiting because the stop run happened here and then went 3 different levels here. Okay, not sure about that, not 100% sure, but that's most likely scenario, I believe. If it was a larger or a stop run with a bunch of smaller players in here, well, a lot of times you'll see the stop run start, or the selling coming in here, and new sellers come in here. They're going to trigger some stops in here, and then you're only going to see this little red line in here, right? The red line is what's telling us here. Okay, in fact, let's take best bid and offer off for just a second here. Okay, the red line it means these are the stops, and this is where it started right here. All right, the move to the downside here. If it was a bunch of smaller players in here, now there's probably smaller players in here as well, but a lot of times what we see is new selling coming in, moving the market, triggering stops in here, triggering stops at the next tick as well, and then the stops get filled down here at the final tick. Right at the end, you'll see the stop run. The little red line will only be here, and you'll maybe see 50 or 30 or something like that. Okay, this is more likely a larger player. Okay, more likely. Rob, Rob, not a sheep. Jump into our YouTube channel. Go to Bookmap on YouTube. The stream is full in here, yeah, there's nothing we can do about that. All right, so anyway, spend some time on that. Let's get back to our analysis here. We're looking for, all right, the one we just kind of ended up with that caveat in here. We're still looking for downside action because of the price movement and the consistent volume in here. Okay, and this scenario here, this is pretty typical. A shallow pullback, and we're looking for continuation. Okay, and that's starting to unfold. We're seeing sellers come in. Let's see them drive it into 30. Let's see if they can drive it into 27, 25, maybe 17. Okay, that we're kind of, you know, it's not so quick and easy in here. We're seeing like strong move and then a lot of consolidation. We saw that over here, and kind of hesitancy as well in this range up here. Okay, but we're looking for continuation. All right, so now one more scenario in here, or variation on this move here. Want to cover and go over. Now, strong, consistent selling. The caveat only being that it's new lows for the day, where the strong and consistent selling, you can have the move back into the range, the bigger range for the day, right? The 2 to 3 points that we look for in the S&P, is questionable at highs and lows of the day. That's the only caveat. Now, we talked about some pullbacks in here in this move from the downside. What's another scenario in here? Or let me put it this way: even if we had the points move in here, what if we saw the scenario unfold down here, where we saw a bit of selling in here, a bit of selling in here, a bit of selling in here, but then big selling down here. Okay, big red dots down here. Yeah, shorts getting squeezed. Yeah, we've seen this so many times, and maybe we even see some examples in here today. But we've seen this on higher time frames that played out just beautifully. We look at where the high volume transacted, and if it transacted all down here, even though this points move is good, but all the volume transacted down here, this is where we look for potentially the buyers to come in on the other side, and they'll move it back up to where not only where it dropped from, okay, they can break through it, because the selling was down here, the transactions are down here. Okay, so that's when we get lopsided selling, okay, in the order flow. Right, this is strong and consistent from the get-go all the way down here. That's good. That's why we're looking for continuation. Okay, different variations of this move here is based on the volume. Okay, so if we take the volume off here, the volume dots, we're just looking at the move. Okay, so now we want to understand the context of the volume within that move to help us out. Strong consistent move is typically means that they're going to move from one area of consolidation to a new area of consolidation. So that's what we're looking in for in the order flow here. All right, and then different variations on that. Another variation is, and let me get my pen. Anyone know what I'm referring to on that one? Extra points on that. Show your age on that one. Anyway, another scenario in here. Strong selling in here. Strong selling, less. Okay, that would be another variation. All right. Now, on that variation, what's the likelihood here for this to trade back up here, or have a mean reversion trade at this point? And that we covered this on with crypto last week. We see it a lot in crypto, also in stocks. And let me jump back over to YouTube. Seller's trap, Alejandro. Yeah, good stuff with rebound. Yep. How can you get the iceberg quantity to show up on the chart? Yeah, so on the chart, yeah, so that's up here. Our stops and iceberg on chart. Guys, looking for this move here, 30. And now careful on this one here. Let's turn the volume on. We want that context right now. Yeah, see, we're not quite getting them yet. We're getting the move lower, but let's see if we get our strong volume here. Yeah, no, we're not getting it. Nope. Now, do we have buyers? Now, this is another thing to look at. Did we get buyers up here before? No. Right? So if we come back down and get sellers here, looking for the move lower, we should, or likely here they are. Okay, now they should be able to move it. 28, 25. Okay, and I'll go over why this is more likely for the move right now in just a second here. And let's see if we get our continuation here. Yeah, careful on this one in here. Reason being, look at this, look at the points move down here, and look at what happened. We're already back here, and we had no sellers here. Okay, so we might get buyers back up here, and then we come back to the top of the range here at 31.5. Again, no sellers here, right? So it's opening the door. Let's see if we get our buyers here and push it back up to 32 now. Yeah. All right, so we left off on this scenario here. Yeah, somewhere around here. Okay, so when we see this kind of volume in here on the move down, there's not a whole lot of interest in selling down here. And this is where buyers can they can move it right back up into these high volume transactions in here and retest these areas, and even try to get above it and get back into the bigger range from previous where it broke down from. All right, makes sense. Lots of variations in here, but this is really I hope, do you find this kind of helpful? Is this good? You know, this kind of like a questioning methodology in here. you know, we have some time in here, so you know, it's a nice exercise to do for sure, and we have some time in here to go over it, but it does take away from the live analysis. Okay, right, a few of you guys like it. Yeah, I would say, like, Bert, the likelihood for a mean reversion trade with this kind of volume like this is much higher, much higher. Okay, at least to retest back up in these areas here. You'll see, so like, if it starts to dry up, and a beautiful one here is, you know, you'll see some buyers come in and they'll move it a little bit higher, and then maybe some good buying up here. You know, pretty strong buying, and then sellers kind of come in again here and drive it lower. Very little selling down here, and then buyers come in here. Okay, once you see something like this, we covered this, the double bottom pattern earlier, and then once we get back up here, okay, here's the you know, the swing is where we want to see buying again. Once we get buyers up here, then we're looking for the move back up into these areas here, and potentially breaking the breakdown here, right? This would be that previous range, breaking that area, and then first, where would the first test be for buyers? If they can get through this level here, if the buyers can get through this level, what's the next area within this previous range we look for a test? No, not VWAP. Could be. Yeah, POC of the range. Absolutely. The high volume node of this range in here. Right? Makes sense, right? Now, this is auction market theory, but, like, I mean, there's common sense behind these things. And we've been covering auction market theory for, I don't know, 6 years, 7 years. And Bookmap works so nicely with it. You see the theories unfold in front of you. I mean, and it just visualizes it. So yeah, you would be looking for, like, you know, where did all the volume trade within this range? You know, and likely it's somewhere in the middle here. And we'd be looking for these are your mean reversion traders back into here. Right, and now if they can get through that, that's the next stop. But if they can get through that, and we see maybe some selling, maybe they come back in a little bit, and low volume pullback here in essence, okay, and we see buyers ramp up again, and we see a lot of buyers in here, very, very likely, or much more likely, we're going to get to the other side of the range, okay, and test it. All right, so different variations, and we've only talked about volume in here within these some of these potential moves and these setups here. And we'll talk about the order book maybe another time, but we look for the order book to give us tons of insight as well. So now let's look at current market. Current market. What do you guys think? What do you think of this range in here in the order flow? Just volume right now. Yeah, why bearish, Alan? Now, you know, this could be because it's low volume, in fact, like, you know, it could be disrupted really quickly by the buyers, but why bearish? Yeah, I mean, breaking down from previous liquidity. No, I mean, where are the transactions happening? Do we see large buy transactions in this little area here on the retest? No. We did make a slightly higher high or higher low in here. So we have the likelihood now, but we need to see the buyers up here at 33, around 30, 2.75, 33. If we do get the buyers up here, then we're not bearish any longer. We're going to look for a move to not only 34, but maybe even 38. Yeah, here we go, right? So this is what we're looking for. Okay, we were bearish in here because we didn't get this, we didn't get buy transactions up here yet. Okay, we're starting to now. Okay, so now they have the potential to move it back up and retest top of this little range here, 35, top of this range at 38. And that is more likely now to unfold. Let's see if we get a little bit of a push here from the order book. Okay, and then buyers in here. There's some exhaustion at the tops now. Yeah, exactly, techie girl. That's exactly right. Like we see, look at this scenario unfold. Right now, we knew that we talked about the likelihood of this unfolding. Okay, we were bearish up to this point here because it's exhausting out up here. I'm not seeing buyers up here. Right, I'm looking for sellers. We got sellers in here. Great. Do we get sellers down here now? They should be able to, come down and retest the lows here. Okay, they did. And did we get sellers down here? No. Right. So we're still bearish up to this point. Okay. Now, once we came back up here and we got buyers up here, the whole picture changes. Okay, and the structure in here too is changing. We're making kind of equal highs in here, actually a slightly higher high above this swing, but we just didn't get the volume up here yet. Okay, so we're still bearish. Looking for the sellers to take it at this point down lower. We come back in, we start to get our buyers up here, and then we changed our idea in the order flow. What we wanted to see was the book really help us here as well. Underneath, we want to see this liquidity maybe come up a little bit higher here, and we want the reaction to that liquidity to be buyers. Okay, very convoluted right now. We got this move, we came back down. Where did we test here? Where did we test when we came back down? Right here, and retested this area. Okay, of the range. Okay, Travis, yeah, you're looking at some yeah, I love doing that, Travis. I'm with you on that. We haven't looked at any other correlated markets at the moment, but that is such a good filter. That is probably one of the best indicators of all, and it's not an indicator, it's a correlation. Okay, but look at some of the other indexes. How are they behaving? When you get all of these indexes going together, you get some powerful moves. Okay, so anyway, let's go back here. So what did we retest here on the pullback? Yeah, exactly. Back to high volume node right here. Okay, so of this range in here, okay, this is the point of control of that range. Right, and did we get sellers in here? No. Okay, now let's go over this because I'm looking for, we got some buyers up here. We're still kind of bullish on this move here, to be honest. However, we're very open to sellers down here at point of control. Here they exhausted out, no selling, very little selling. Okay, if we can get back down here and we get our sellers, we got a nice move, likely down to 28 and continuation of the trend, 25, 20, etc. See how we didn't get really the buying up here, like that consistent buying here. This is similar to that variation we were just talking about. Okay, the context here. Do we get a lot of buyers up here? No, not really. Did we get a lot of sellers down here though? No, not really. So we don't really have too much insight at the moment. Just kind of meandering price here. And liquidity wise, like yeah, you know, there's a little bit coming in here, and we see a reaction. It's moved a little bit higher here, but it's still pretty dark in here. Okay, so now, you know, this is yeah, actually I'll hold off from mentioning about some trade management in here and getting tripped up on it. If we got a lot of sellers here and we had exhaustion in here, then you can, you know, you can look at and study like the fade up here, the move back down here, or point of control down here, cover some and look for continuation. Okay, so that's what we're looking for here. Now, do we get sellers down here? Let's see. Okay, especially down here at 31 3/4. Okay, let's see if we can get our sellers down here. Okay, exhausted out, and boy, we're just not seeing a lot of activity right now though. I mean, it's very low volume here. Okay, nonetheless, we're going to read the order flow. Okay, looking for sellers down here, that high volume node, to push it through this high volume node and then down to 28 and etc. Here they come. So there, I mean, like I was mentioning, like the higher likelihood, we had sellers here, exhaustion here, you know, you could get in here, cover some at your point of control, and then hold or even add once you see more sellers in here. These are things though you have to, these are not trade recommendations whatsoever. And these are potential setups, and this is where you need to do your due diligence and study it. I'm just pointing at some of these areas to understand some trade management within the order flow here. Okay, so our scenario is starting to play out a little bit. Not a whole lot of selling down here though. So, you know, back and forth is very likely if we don't get sellers in here. You know, they're trying to get through this point of control. Instead, they're bouncing off of it. All right, let's see if we get them again here. Okay, love to see the order book support us here, or wind at our back, more supply in here, and the reaction be sellers. And instead, we're getting the opposite. We're getting some buyers in here. All right, sellers, let's see it right here. 31 3/4, 31 1/2. Nope. There they are. They come back. All right, let's see some follow through. 30 and 28. We want our 28 level to trade. Okay, we're still not getting them here. Still not getting them. All right. We're looking for them. So yeah, you know, back and forth in here really. Yeah, all right, buyers are going to lift it one more time, maybe test back up into these areas here. Back to the top. Okay, we were looking for them. It kind of did a false breakdown of the point of control, and buyers stepped right back in. Okay, now, do we get buyers up here? Looking pretty good. All right, if we do, I'm looking for 37 and 38 now. Really dark order book in here. I don't like it. High liquidity is up here at 38. Buyers are down here at 28 in a 10-point range. Okay, let's get our icebergs on here as well. Stops and icebergs on chart. That's sub chart. On chart. Okay, again down here, no sellers yet again. Okay, let's see buyers up here. See the buying up here now? Okay, so now it's more likely. Okay, buyers are coming for it here. Looking for buyers up here to test up to 35, and I want to see more to trade through it to 38. All right, let's see if we get them here. Yeah, they're here. They're auctioning. Let's see the move to 35.5. They're auctioning up here. We're looking for them to push it up into 35.5. Here, the order book helping us. And we found some sellers. Interesting. Okay. Now, are we above it or below it? We're above it. Finding buyers again. Okay, we need to find them up here. 35. Okay, it's auctioning up here. Okay, very little. Looking for buyers. All right, here we go. All right, so now we need a bit more on the buy side, a little more on the auction. Okay, there they go. All right, so let's see it now. Very careful on this though, but let's see. It is there are some buyers up here. They're not really committing though. Now it's starting to exhaust. Now we're starting to see some sellers. Okay, so this is not really highly likely. In fact, the other is likely now for the move back down to 31, and then our original move like 28 and below. Okay, and here they come. Right, this is no different than what we were covering earlier here. We're looking for our buyers in here. We're looking for it to auction up here, thinking yeah, maybe, and then exhaustion in here, selling in here, selling here. We're looking for them to drop it. Okay, so now let's see. We got some selling down here as well. Looking for low volume pullback. Sellers down here at 32. Let's see if we can get that. All right, sellers, let's see it right here at 32, 32.25. There they are. They should be able to move it. All right, let's see the move now. Let's see the follow through. They're pulling at 31. Okay, we're looking for more sellers here. And then through 31 down to our 28 level here. There's some exhaustion. There's some selling. All right, more likely they should break it now. More likely to break. Looking for follow through. Sellers hitting the bid. Okay, through our point of control. Hey, if it fails and we get buyers up here, then it's it's off. Okay, exhaustion here though. Sellers here again, looking for them to drop it. Looking for them to drop it. Okay, we just read the order flow in here. Sellers have command here if they want to just really hit the bid hard into 28. Okay, and below we can get a bigger move here because we had the strong move, consolidation, move lower, consolidation. Now looking for a move. Ellie, how do I determine POC? I'm just looking at ranges and volume within ranges. Okay, and there's the point of control, which is the overall high volume node, the most traded level. Okay, and the way that you can determine that is you zoom out here. You can look at your profiles, but we do have on an SVP chart here. You can right click, go to configure, and you can find this here, this yellow line, and then it will track the point of control over time, as you can see. So it's right here. Now mine is reset at the 9:30 cash open. Okay, so it might be different than yours. My VWAP as well resets at 9:30. Okay, more likely sellers here again, liquidity here at 28 and then 25. We can get a nice move here. There's 28. A little bit traded at 28. Still looking for more. I want to see it blast through 28. And it doesn't look like it wants to. Okay, so we might get a retest back up. All right, guys. Now this is another question in here. Is this a low volume pullback here? And then how would you manage your trade if based on that answer? Okay, techie girl, how would you manage your trade if you were short? See if it breaks structure. Yeah, that's an excellent answer. Yeah, it didn't. It didn't. All right, look at the retest down here, guys and gals, girls. Did we get volume down here? Sell volume? Nope. Okay, so let's see if we get buyers here. 30 and a half. Okay, we need to be careful in here. Careful on this one. Seller, we can get our sellers down here and we get the move that we were originally looking for. Yeah, and they've got it set up here. Here's our exhaustion. We're getting down to the lows here, and we're starting to auction with selling here. Okay, still haven't broken structure. Okay, what we need, since this volume came in, everything kind of is different now. It's not as likely. Like we can get buyers back up here and get the move higher. So we just had exhaustion in here. So we're looking for sellers here. Okay, exhaustion on the buy side here. We're looking for sellers here. They exhausted out too. Now we're getting buyers back up here. Okay, now the buyers have the potential now. They can move it, right? We covered this scenario on the double bottom earlier, or this setup. Okay, now this is a little more convoluted. It's, we do see some selling here. Okay. Okay, this is not as clear. Okay, still haven't broken structure though. Okay, we broke the trend line, but we didn't break the lower high here. Okay, in fact, even here, more buy volume, and we still didn't break it. All right, so do we get buyers up here? Starting to. We see a lot of icebergs here as well, or a few. I would love to see if we can get our sellers down here. I'd love it. These guys they'd be off size. We get a nice quick move lower and a nice stop run here. I don't know if we're going to get it. Love to see it. They're getting them. There they are. All right, do we get more? And come on. There they go. All right, so now let's see the move, and 25, looking for 25, and pretty quickly here. Let's see it, sellers, right here, 27.5. Nope. See sellers again here. Can it auction down here again? No, can't do it. Can't do it. Look out. Could come right back up to 31.5 here. Right, false breakdown. Back to point of control first, and then maybe other side of the range here. Okay, so it's already come to the point of control, it looks like, of this little range in here. Boy, it's pretty ugly. But yeah, somewhere around here, 30 looks pretty good. It's really actually here at 29. All right, still looking for sellers here at 29. Let's see if we can get them. No. All right, sellers, let's see. You got it here. Come on. Looking for them. Trade back down 27 and through here. 25 and 24. Boy, still not finding them down here at 27. We're down there. Still not finding them though. As you guys can see, this is tricky and choppy, but like we're reading it and like, you know, letting it go. If it's not, you know, more likely, then you know, let it go. Don't worry about it. No, we're filtering it based on the order flow. Looking for something higher probability, more likely. And we finally got some sellers in here. Not much of a point move down lower though. And if we can get, what if we get buyers back up above, even in this little micro range here, buyers back up above, right here, about above 27.5. Okay, we get buyers here. This could be a nice move back up to 30 and 31.5. Okay, we didn't get too many sellers down here. Kind of exhausted out a little bit here. The disclaimer gets you every time. Sorry guys in YouTube, let me get caught up on some of these. We'll be moving over to YouTube exclusively pretty soon. Okay, still have 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Yeah, I agree. razor you want to see those that passive liquidity on the bid chasing. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Yeah, hit the like button. Thank you, Cart. Yeah, yeah, really appreciate it. If you guys can hit the like button and subscribe in here. I mean, I wish we could be a little more animated in here. There's just not a whole lot going on, and it gives us time to go through some details though, which is really nice, and some of these different scenarios, which is fantastic to understand, like filtering out things when looking for something that is more likely than not due to the order flow. And you can see, like, out of all this back and forth in here, even this buying up here, Techie Girl nailed it, didn't break structure. The buying was good, and in fact, this looked, I thought we were going to break it. I thought here where they were going to break it, I thought they would trade it back up to probably about here, maybe top of the range, so somewhere around like 34 to like 35 and a half. But they didn't, and we're still seeing buying fight it in here. Okay, we're coming up to our European close here, so look at them come back up here. Okay, and they auctioned here before, right? So okay, if that's the case, then buyers, and we're seeing some nice buying. The selling is trapped down here basically. Okay, this is another thing that we covered earlier today. So we're getting buyers back up above that area here at 27 and a half. And this is where we previously had buyers, and this is where we previously had buyers. Okay, so if it can auction up here and we're getting our buyers looking for the move back up here, 31 and a half. Okay, that's going through it really quickly, but that's the same scenarios we've gone through many times over here. Okay, so all right, do we get our buyers up here? It auctioned here before, it can auction here again. They seem to be interested, looking for them to stream right up into 31 and a half. And icebergs up here waiting and watching. Oh, they're live in the book right now. Okay, now did we break structure? Yeah, we broke this small one here. We're testing the top of this one here. Okay, we're also seeing a lot of demand come, or supply come in here. And what's the reaction to it? Well, buyers aren't interested in it. See how this kind of changed that whole scenario in here? Or we at least got some insight from it. Okay, and these guys don't mean business up here. Maybe this guy at 30 does. But see how they pulled? They just showed, they kind of flashed in the order book, and they found some weakness. Just by doing that, they found larger players can play around with this order book and get some insight. There's softness in this market. We looking for the buyers to trade back up here to 31 and a half. Okay, but we show a little bit of supply in here, and we found sellers immediately. Thanks, Sir Aerosol. Really appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah, you've been testing other order flow softwares. Yeah, I mean, one of the beautiful thing like that with Bookmap is well, first off, we came from the HFT environment, and our software was developed to test our own algos at high frequency. So it was important to really show a lot of accuracy. And I haven't seen anything that shows as accurate as Bookmap. I mean, we really zoom in here. We can look at all the details. Look at all these transactions and how it unfolds. And we're down at microsecond. These are millions of seconds, and this is how it unfolded. We can go down to billions of seconds, right? And it's still very, very accurate in here. All right. So anyway, but what's so nice about that is like these concepts at these micro structural levels, they play out again and again on all time frames. So we're just reading the order flow within it, and then applying it from various time frames in here. Like this scenario in here, we were like, well, trying to read and understand and we understood some softness in here. We're finding our sellers. So here we go. Let's see the break or the move into 25, and let's see if we can get down to 21 and 20 here. Looking for it. So they're auctioning here on the sell side. Okay, sellers, then pull away from these buyers here and pull away from this whole range here. And we need size to do that. We need big sell dots here to move it away here. That's the primary scenario right now. We're looking for them to move it away here. And here's our answer. They're not. In fact, this is going to be that trapped volume in here, and we can get this move right back to, well, I'd be looking for a move to the top of the range here. Okay, and if this is strong, consistent buying, not only to the top of the range, we can get back to this 31.5 level here. Yeah, exactly. Aerosol, the nice thing compared to footprint chart is like footprint's aggregated. So you're not going to see these structures, like these micro structures and just smaller structures, and you're not going to see the relationship or context of the transactions within the structures, let alone like even if you did, you wouldn't see the order book here. Like, and this is such a nice thing in Bookmap. It shows you a complete other side of the trade. Where's the supply and demand, and what's that context and relationship? You're just seeing volume in footprint charts, and of course in volume profile charts as well. You're just seeing volume, transactions only. And what about liquidity? And it's such an important part of the market. It's the other side of the trade. Okay, well, we made a techie girl, so here we go. Look at this. We saw buyers stream in here, but they failed to make a higher high. Looking for sellers here, looking for follow through. This one looks more likely to me. I would love to see this order book really show up here on lower level here on the offer, because we failed to continue to make equal high here. Okay, I'm looking for sellers to drop it here. And the likelihood here, and we can even kind of zoom in closer here and look at small little ranges in here. Okay, so if we don't see buyers back up in here, I'm looking for sellers here at 26 and for them to drop it pretty quickly into 25, 24, 21, 20, etc. So there's 25, selling big red dots. That's what we're looking for. We're not looking for that on the other side here. We don't want that. Okay, did they break the structure though? Not yet. Okay, well, all right. So we got some buyers up here. If we get another rotation here, 25.5, and see those sellers looking for the drop. Okay, now we're getting buyers up here. Okay, so it's been a tricky day back and forth. The follow through has been, it's kind of done it, but it's kind of eked its way through. Okay, well, we're getting buyers above that structure. We're back up here. Can we get buyers up here at 29? Or is it still making a lower high? Okay, just a little bit of a review in here. We're looking for that follow through here. Look pretty good. It did get down to 25 at least, but and some stops triggered there. But this is why, like, we kind of started off the webinar here. Look at the points move in here. How many points is this? Like one, even at best, like one. That's why we look for more than 3, especially for lows of the day. Okay, so you can see what happened in here. Now it still may go lower if we get another rotation, but this is not this. We want the strong, consistent buying to move away from it. Okay, if we see this and we get buyers on the other side up here and break that structure, which is what they did. Okay, back up into here. Into here. Okay, and then also we're looking at those icebergs up here around 31. They're gone already, so it probably just transacted into it. No, well, they're here. All right, buyers, let's see, you should be able to break it. Now, if we saw in this scenario here, if there was strong and consistent buying, maybe starting up here, maybe around here, all the way down, it's more likely we're going to get a continuation. But we only got the selling down here. Okay, John, you trade crypto. You want to take a look at it? Let's just we'll go through that. No problem. It's the same stuff. All right. Well, I don't really see anything different. I see selling at lower lows, more selling at lower lows, more selling at lower lows. I'm looking for the same, and I'm looking for them to drop it through. Okay, looking for 4,600, maybe 40,000. Okay, now there's some caveats in here, right? Notice how we talked about this in previous, or with the S&P. Look where all this selling took place. Okay, so what if we get back up here and we get buyers back up above this area here? Right, these guys would be unbalanced and upended. You see how crypto trades a little bit differently. We want that strong, consistent buying, okay, or selling, and we're not getting it here. We're just getting it at the bottom here. So likely just massive stop runs in here, or stop outs here, and then it just kind of goes back and forth. It is trending down though, and we got to go with the trend. More selling at lower lows here, less buying at higher or lower highs here. So we're still going with it, but just notice how they can be trapped in here is what I'm talking about. Okay, so and you can look for those scenarios, and if the buying can really pick up, you're looking for it to auction back to where it can. Where it can is where there's previous action on the buy side up here. Okay, makes sense. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. Doug had requested the other day more stocks and spend some time on some stocks, and I plan to do that in these webinars as well. So you stock guys, you're not forgotten. All right, interesting move here. And you can see how this met the qualifications. Now that's hindsight now, but like and here's the move, and we looked at these targets in here, but what the main point here, the main driver is like, wow, okay, we're making lower highs and lower lows in here, and we're seeing selling down here, but we didn't get that strong consistent selling, but they could have here, they could have, and then really dropped it quickly down to 21. Instead, they just dropped it into 25, and they were totally absorbed at 25, totally absorbed, never got through 25 here. And then who came on the other side here? All right, so that's fine. Did they break structure? Yeah, they did the smaller structure first. Now can they get up to this structure? Yes. Now can they break that structure? Okay, look for a pullback maybe to here, 27. Beautiful. Look, do we get buyers up here? Yes. Okay, now we can get our move higher. And now I know that's hindsight is too bad. Like I would have loved to have done that in real time. But anyway, we did cover this scenario many times over, and we did see a few moves like this, just not a nicer one. Okay, so anyway, they're back to a high volume node up here, right? So, and we're getting buyers above it. See how the buyers are above it? They're going to try to move it higher then. They're going to try to go for this liquidity up here. Okay, buyers above this area here, right? They're the ones that want to move the market now. Strong, consistent buying, so looking for it to continue higher. This is where the strong, consistent buying came in. Look at it here. All right, guys. Well, this our European close. We could see a nice move here, potentially back up into VWAP main point of control here. We're back at 44.50 here. Okay, so let's take a quick look at our higher time frame here. Yeah, we were looking for the move lower on this hourly. Probably shows it the best, and then we're looking for this scenario most likely to play out instead of the gap fill. The gap fill can play out now if we get enough buyers in here to come back up and get above the high of the day here. It's possible. Looking at the daily chart over here, looking at the momentum of the selling in here, boy, it kind of tells you like, yeah, looking for 44.13 below this swing here. This is nice. I really like this area here, 44.10 to 13 or so on the daily. All right, so a little bit of complexity in there as well in the order flow, or in this structure, I should say, on the hourly and the daily here. All right, so selling, moving it away here, but not very nicely, but they did move it away. Okay, so now it's the mean reversion guys their play is wide open now. Okay, back into the swing here, the auction here. We're already there, basically 34, 35, and then the next one would be up here at 44.40 and VWAP here. This is a really nice area here to take a look at for retest right here. Okay, we have structure, we have the break, the strong selling in here, and the move into it. We covered a lot of things in here. I think we started here at 10 and we saw the little double bottom and the move back in. We saw the selling here. We're looking for the follow through. We got it, and still looking for it to go lower. Then we're starting to see buyers come in, and we're like, not so sure. A lot of back and forth, and then lower highs, lower lows, still looking for a continuation. And 25, it did trade 25, never got through it, and then you can see now the buyers coming in, and strong consistent buying, guys. So there we are at 35, looking for them to continue to buy and move it back up to 40. Okay, just based on what we've covered here in this webinar. All right, so yeah, thanks everybody for coming. Tom B is next. If YouTubers join us over in Discord, Tom B will go through his way of trading, volume profile, and take advantage of it, because he's going to be away the rest of the week. So I hope it's okay I say that, Tom. But it's in the Google Calendar schedule. I've updated it last week, so you guys probably know. Yeah, so he'll start in a little bit, and yeah, volume profile and S&P action. Okay, thanks for coming, everybody, and we will catch up with you tomorrow. Okay, yep, take care. Bye bye.